In 2014, photographer Greg Siegel decided he wanted to put a human face on the trash problem plaguing the United States of America. But cold numbers and statistics were not going to do it. He decided to enlist his friends, neighbors, and acquaintances in a photographic project in which he would get a family to lay on the ground and be covered with 1 week's worth of their trash. Our textbook gives us facts like the average person produces about 2 kilograms or 6.5 pounds of trash daily. And while these figures are staggering, it doesn't have the emotional resonance that comes from seeing an image of what that looks like. Imagine if your family had a week's worth of trash dumped out on them. What would it look like?
This is Lauren Singer. She has embraced the zero waste lifestyle. Here we see 5 years of trash placed in a jar. But is this type of living feasible for everyday Americans like you and I? Think about things like toothpaste and shampoo. If you want to go zero waste, that means that you're going to have to create these things on your own, and that takes time and money. Still, we cannot continue to produce waste on this level. Take a moment to look at this graphic to give you some perspective on how much waste we are producing annually. Here we see open and closed landfills across the United States. As you can see, our trash surrounds us. Let's open up to page 127, section 2 review. Number 1, what happens to most solid waste in the United States? And we just have to go to the top of the same page, 127, in that first paragraph where we see most municipal solid waste in the United States still goes to landfills.
Number 2 asks us to list the 4 major categories of solid waste that are most often recycled. And if we look on page 124, under recycling, we see metal, glass, paper, and plastic are the most recycled materials. Remember, New Orleans does not recycle glass like much of the United States. Number 3 asks us to name and define the 3 R's of solid waste management. And here we have a helpful little graphic that provides us with some anthropomorphic versions of the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, and recycle. Page 127 under What Can You Do tells us that reduce refers to creating less waste in the first place, while reuse refers to finding another use for an object rather than discarding it. Lastly, recycle refers to reclaiming raw materials to create new products. In number 4, we are asked to give an example of a way in which communities can reduce their solid waste. And that second to last paragraph on page 127 at the very bottom says, how about starting a used paper collection and recycling program at your school? Of course, there are countless ways that we can reduce our solid waste. Page 127 also gives us the answer to number 5, what is composting? And we see composting is the process of helping the natural decomposition processes break down many forms of waste. Of course, here at Christian Brothers School, we have a composting program through the Learning Landscape. And number 5, thinking critically. Compare the recycling of metal and paper. How are they similar and how are they different? So I'm asking you to go on to Canvas Chat and to post your answer.